I don't know about you guys, but I'm confused. All the car manufacturers go on and on and on. Everybody's buying crossovers. Everybody's buying SUVs. We got to make more of those. We can't make any more cars. Yet there is one segment they are making more of, and it's a very unusual segment because you and I would look at those cars and say, those are four-doors. However, every manufacturer, usually German, call them coupes, and then sometimes they add a fifth door, which is a hatchback. Then they invariably have a lot of horsepower, which usually makes them very expensive. Like, for example, the 8 Series BMW. Now they kind of quadrupled down on their investment over 3 different body styles. Then the day I am literally shooting this, Porsche announced 3 new Panamera models. And then there's the Mercedes. They call this a GT 4-door, and a GT is a 2-door sports car, which that makes no sense to me. But of the whole bunch we just discussed, this one, at least currently, is the one with the most horsepower. I feel compelled to kick off today's episode with a disclaimer. The following figures you and I are about to cover are not figments of my imagination, nor are they derived from Fantasyland. Rather, they come from a hand-built 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8. In this case, it is hand-built by a gentleman by the name of Tom Rossi. Entschuldigung if I have completely butchered your name. This one, if it were a GT63, the basic car, it would be a measly 577 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. However, this is not the basic car. It's a GT63s, same engine. However, 630 horsepower comes in at 5,500 RPM, stays flat all the way to 6,500 RPM, and 664 pound-feet of torque comes in at 2,500 RPM, stays flat all the way up to 4,500 RPM. Drives all 4 wheels through anything you want, as long as it's a 9-speed automatic. However, huge point of clarification, unlike the regular Mercedes vehicles we drive with a 9-speed automatic, this one does not have a torque converter. It has that twin wet multi-plate clutch that we drove in the 2021 E63s. And then, do you really want to talk about fuel economy? Because that's not one of the strong suits here. But if you do, 15, 20, 17 combined. And then performance figures of the more basic GT63. Well, that is a very slow 3.3 seconds to 60 and a Vmax of 193 miles an hour. However, this GT63s, 3.1 to 60, and Vmax is electronically limited to 195 miles an hour. So I hate to be the one to piss on our horsepower parade, but this, almost 4,800 pounds, expressed in non-imperial units of measure, 2,177 kilograms with that. Oh my God, that's explosive! Holy crap, this thing is so fast! Of course, yes, linear power, it just pulls, it's more explosive. But really what we need to focus on is the personality difference here. Because that is the same block that starts out at 469 horsepower in other Mercedes AMG vehicles. And here, yeah, of course it's got more power, but it completely changes the character and personality that makes this just say, thank you, sir, may I have another? In our GT53 episode, you and I went on a rather extensive tour of the bits that reside under the bodywork of a GT 4-door. Yet there are significant differences between a GT53 and a GT63. Let's focus on those. One of the biggest by far is the switch from the GT53's steel spring setup to the 63 having the Mercedes air body control, which is in itself a multi-chamber air ride and adjustable dampers. Now, there are some other changes that were all done to augment the additional power coming out of the engine. One of the biggest is a change from a mechanical limited slip to an electronic limited slip. Then while you and I are still focused on the rear suspension, you may remember in the GT53 as well as the GTR Roadster, there is a significant amount of additional bracing underneath the back of the car to improve driving dynamics. Well, on 63s, Rear wheel steering is fitted as standard to augment that, and it could turn up to 1.5 degrees, either the same direction as the front wheels or in the opposite direction as the front wheels. That provides us with a great segue. 19-inch wheels fitted as standard all the way around. However, the car you are looking at is fitted with much cooler 20-inch wheels. Then there are the brakes, 15.4-inch diameter rotors in the front with 6 piston calipers, 14.2-inch diameter rotors in the rear. Yes, this car is fitted with carbon ceramic rotors. And then there is the very important fact, which I do not think is a secret with these things. While they look like a GT 4-door, they are very much based on an E-Class platform. And here is the biggest surprise of this 63S derivation. You and I are going through this lovely declining radius turn in comfort mode. We never do that. The most compliant setup returns incredible driving dynamics. The control overall planes of motion in comfort is unusual. I would say that is a big function of all that additional bracing we've talked about. Now let's say for the sake of discussion we would go down into race mode. Yeah, the limits of adhesion would go up a bit, but there is an unusual trade-off here where the ride quality, it degrades to a point where even I, someone who has owned far too many Lotus over the years, would drive this in comfort mode the majority of the time and still be happy doing it. Yes, it is indeed that time again to play your favorite game of mine, the options game, with today's contestant, yet another Mercedes AMG GT, the 2020 Mercedes AMG GT63s, for a base price of $161,200. Now, I do feel it important to point out that if this didn't have the S, which would mean less power as well as less standard equipment, it would be about $20,000 cheaper. To that, we add a very mundane choice of color, the graphite gray metallic. You're spending 160 grand on a car, why would you get gray? Especially when there is brilliant blue Magno on offer. Yes, the blue is more expensive. That's actually more than 4 times the price of the gray at $720, but it would really make this car. Anyway, the interior, that is not mundane. Red pepper with black Napa exclusive leather for $2,160. Absolutely comes off the page. This is definitely the right choice interior. And then there's trim on the interior. I don't know what it is about AMG. They love their carbon fiber, especially charging you extra for it. This one has a lot of carbon fiber. As such, they charge you an additional $2,850. Me, I would prefer a satin finish wood, which would probably be a quarter of that price. And then we press on to by far the most expensive single option fitted to this car, the carbon ceramic rotors. I don't know who would take a $160,000 4-door, or really 5-door sedan on a track. So there's that, $8,950. And this car is fitted with a Dinamica AMG steering wheel. For the life of me, I do not understand why this is optional on a $160,000 car for $300. Then this one is fitted with the stunning 21-inch black cross-spoke AMG wheels. They better be stunning for $3,200. Then if that were not enough to spend at each corner of the vehicle, extreme high-performance tires, an additional $600. Then the carbon fiber roof. That is optional. It costs extra. We will spend more time talking about this later in the episode. $3,000. Then there are the seats. It breaks down into the multi-contour adjustment. That alone is $700. Then if you want the very cool and very beautiful, and I would argue very comfortable and supportive Recaro seats, that's an additional $2,500. Then the surround view camera, optional on a $160,000 car, $500. Then the AMG light display, I have no idea what this is, $250. And we press on to packages. The first one is the usual one we see on Mercedes AMG, the driver's assistance package. That is the Distronic Plus, the sort of level 2 autonomy. No, this is not a self-driving car, as well as all the safety doodads, $2,250. Then we move on to the Enlightenment Package. This is a fancy way of saying you have a Mercedes-specific atomizer in your car that uses Mercedes-specific perfume if you like the smell of perfume in your car. Not my bag. But anyway, $550. The Amg Night Package, we've seen this very frequently on all of our AMGs. That is the black trim, $750. Then the AMG Aero Package, and this is very specific to this car. That's the splitter in the front, the flicks on the side of the air dam, as well as the fixed rear spoiler, $2,850. You can make adjustments to it, but you do need to get tools out to do it. And then we circle back to the continuing theme of more carbon fiber. This one, the Carbon Fiber 2 package, which changes the mirror fairings to carbon fiber, as well as that fixed spoiler we just paid an extra almost $3,000 for. That changes to carbon fiber for $4,000. Then we had two more things. One, the destination and handling for $995. Then the US government, they want a word with you because they want their pound of flesh out of your 630 horsepower car for a gas guzzler tax of $1,000 for a total suggested retail price of $199,325. So let's you and I roll back to comfort mode, discuss a couple of notes. The first thing you will notice is a graphical representation of a stunning IWC von Schaffhausen clock. And while that is lovely, this is almost, what do we learn? 200 grand in the options game. So can we have a real IWC analog clock somewhere in the dashboard? That would be wonderful. Vielen Dank. And then last but not least, the roof. You may have noticed it is carbon fiber, which is lovely for the folks that love carbon fiber all over their cars. I am not one of those folks. And we have already proven this does not need, 30 pounds taken out of the roof to change the driving dynamics. So if you were to put a glass roof up there, which is on offer in every derivation of the GT four-door, that would be a better solution because it would just open up the interior a bit more. This otherworldly good, however, that was not the question that was presented to us today. Rather, we were presented with the following. How much do you value design? Because as much as this looks kind of like an AMG GT, and it is indeed very attractive, underneath it is pretty much an E-Class, which means one could have kind of the same mechanical bits that snort and make all that noise and go very fast for significantly cheaper. And in my case, as wonderful as this is, I personally find the E63s wagon significantly more attractive, and frankly, there's more room for Kumo in that car, and I can save myself, about $70,000 in the process. Probably would use that budget for a bush plane. But anyway, that's just me, so I'm going to turn this around to you guys. If you had to spend $200,000 on an equation like this, what would it be and why? Let me know in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV, all one word, MotoManTV, all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I do need to make an important point. Yeah, I started this episode with a bit of a gag, but it really is a fact that this is an expanding segment in a world of SUVs, and here's proof. A couple of weeks before I drove this car, Mercedes-Benz, they came out and said, we're coming out with another flavor of the GT four-door. This one is going to be the GT43. So that's going to be that 48-volt mild hybrid inline six that we see in the CLS 450. But that car is going to be less than half the price of this. I'm rather excited to share that one with you in a coming episode, probably in a couple of months. Until I see you in the next episode, bis später.